Have you ever looked back at someone you begged God to keep in your life, only to realize later that losing them was actually the best thing that ever happened to you? At first, it feels cruel, confusing, maybe even unfair. One day they're close to you. The next day they're distant, gone, or completely changed. And the strange part? Sometimes the harder you try to hold on, the faster they disappear. But what if I told you that some people aren't removed to punish you? They're removed to protect you. Because not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay for the entire journey. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand the one sign most people miss when God removes certain people from your life, and why ignoring it can keep you stuck for years. Sometimes God removes people before they destroy your peace. One of the hardest truths about life is this: not every relationship is healthy just because it feels familiar. Some people slowly drain your energy, your confidence, your peace, and even your faith. But here's where things get interesting. Most toxic relationships don't look toxic in the beginning. They look exciting, comforting, addictive. That's why so many people ignore the warning signs from God. Maybe you've experienced this before. You constantly feel anxious around someone. You overthink every conversation. You lose yourself trying to keep them happy. And deep down, you know something feels wrong. But you stay because you're emotionally attached. This is often when God begins separating people. Not because he hates you, because he sees what you cannot see yet. Sometimes God removes people from your life because they were never meant to have permanent access to your destiny. The pain of letting go is part of spiritual growth. Nobody talks enough about this. Spiritual growth is uncomfortable. We love praying for blessings. We love asking God for peace, success, and purpose. But we rarely think about what has to leave before those blessings can arrive. Now, this next part might surprise you. Sometimes the answer to your prayer starts with a goodbye, because growth requires space. Think about a tree for a second. Dead branches must be cut off for healthy growth to continue. And relationships work the same way. Certain people belong to a past version of you, the insecure version, the fearful version, the distracted version. But God's plan for your life requires transformation. And transformation always costs something. That's why losing people can feel like losing part of your identity. Because in many cases it is. Why toxic relationships feel so hard to leave? Here's where most people make a mistake. They confuse attachment with purpose. Just because someone was emotionally important doesn't mean they were spiritually assigned to you forever. That's powerful. A lot of toxic relationships survive because people fear loneliness more than dysfunction. Read that again mentally. People stay in situations that hurt them because the pain feels predictable, and humans naturally cling to what's familiar. But faith and relationships often require trust beyond comfort. God sometimes removes people to break unhealthy emotional cycles. Cycles of validation, cycles of manipulation, cycles of settling for less than you deserve. And the scary part? When those people leave, silence enters your life. But that silence is important, because silence reveals who you are without their influence. God removes people to redirect your future. Have you noticed this? Some relationships end right before major breakthroughs happen. A new opportunity appears. A new mindset develops. A new season begins. That's not always coincidence. Sometimes God removes distractions before elevation, because certain people cannot go where you're headed. And this is where most people make a mistake. They try to resurrect relationships that God already ended. They keep reopening doors that were closed for a reason. But if God keeps removing someone from your life, maybe the lesson isn't reconciliation. Maybe the lesson is release. There's a reason windshield glass is bigger than the rearview mirror. Your future matters more than your past. The spiritual meaning of losing friends hurts differently, especially long-term friends, because you shared memories, history, inside jokes, versions of yourself nobody else saw. But spiritual awakening changes people. And sometimes it changes you faster than the people around you. Suddenly your priorities shift. You start valuing peace over drama, purpose over popularity, growth over comfort. And naturally, some friendships stop aligning. Not every friendship ends because someone is evil. Some relationships simply expire. That doesn't make the memories fake. It just means the season ended. And seasons are normal. Even in nature, nothing blooms forever. Why God's timing never makes sense at first? Let's be honest. When God removes someone, it rarely feels good immediately. Usually it feels confusing. You question yourself. You replay conversations. You wonder if you could have fixed things. But here's where things get interesting. Clarity almost always arrives later, rarely in the moment. That's why trusting God's timing requires faith, because you won't always understand the removal while it's happening. Think about Joseph in the Bible, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, abandoned. At the time, it looked like destruction, but years later, it became clear that every painful separation was positioning him for purpose. And your life works similarly sometimes. Certain exits make sense only in hindsight. Signs God is removing someone from your life. Now this next part might surprise you. The signs are often subtle before they become obvious. Communication starts feeling forced. You feel spiritually exhausted after interacting with them. Conflict becomes constant. Opportunities pull you in different directions. And despite your efforts, the relationship keeps naturally falling apart. Many people interpret this as failure, but sometimes it's divine separation. Not every broken connection needs repairing. Sometimes God protects you through distance. And honestly, one of the clearest signs from God is repeated disruption. If every path keeps closing, maybe forcing it open isn't wisdom. Maybe it's resistance. Why holding on can delay your blessings. This is something most people never realize. Holding on to the wrong people can block the right opportunities. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, because every relationship consumes energy. And if all your energy is spent surviving toxic relationships, you won't have enough left to pursue your calling. That's why letting go of people is sometimes necessary for spiritual growth. Not because you stopped caring, but because you finally started valuing peace. And peace is expensive. It often costs attachment. But here's where things get really powerful. The moment you stop chasing people who no longer belong in your life, you create room for healthier connections to enter. And that changes everything. God is more concerned with your purpose than your comfort. This truth is difficult. God's plan for your life is not centered around temporary comfort. It's centered around growth, character, and purpose. Sometimes comfort keeps people stagnant. That's why major life changes often begin with disruption. A breakup, a betrayal, a friendship ending, a separation you never expected. But many of those painful moments become turning points later, because pain forces reflection. Reflection creates wisdom, and wisdom changes your future. So if someone walked away from your life recently, don't immediately assume you lost something valuable. Sometimes the removal itself is the blessing. The people meant for you won't cost you your peace. Here's the final truth. The right people bring clarity, not confusion. They inspire growth instead of draining your spirit. They don't make you constantly question your worth. And they don't force you to abandon yourself just to keep them around. Now remember the story loop from the beginning? That person you once begged God to keep. What if losing them was actually the moment your real life began? Sometimes God removes certain people from your life because He loves you too much to let them stay. And years from now, you may look back at the pain that almost broke you and realize it was actually protection the entire time. If this video helped you see your situation differently, then you'll definitely want to watch the next video where I break down the hidden signs God is preparing you for a major life transformation. And if you enjoyed this, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and stick around, because the next lesson might be exactly what you need to hear next.